I'm a dire Chiefs and Cyclones fan, and this Chiefs running back deserves to be in the all-time discussion. My name's AJ Caldwell. Welcome back to Cyclone Kingdom. Top 5 Chiefs running backs coming your way. Check out our whole top 5 series that we're rolling out this summer as we prepare for the 2026-27 season. And make sure you like and subscribe for more Chiefs and Cyclones content. The Kansas City Chiefs have a historic running back room when it comes to all-time dudes, guys that deserve to be in historic discussions with the Eric Dickersons and the Barry Sanders. There's just guys on this list that deserve to be in that discussion. But before we get to that, one of the craziest honorable mentions I think we're ever going to do on a top 5 list, Patrick Mahomes. You want to know how bad the Chiefs running back room has been since Patrick Mahomes has been the quarterback? You know, we hear no 1,000-yard rusher, no, they haven't had any consistent running back. Oh, Isaiah Pacheco was good for 17 games, and he wasn't good anymore. Patrick Mahomes is 12th, not in passing yards, not in touchdowns, in rushing yards all time for the Kansas City Chiefs. Praise the Lord for Kenneth Walker. Praise the Lord that Kenneth Walker is finally here. Patrick Mahomes is 12th all time in rushing yards. Almost cracking the top 10. Yeah, he scrambles. Yeah, he does great, yardage here and there. But he is not a running back. And how is he top 15 all time? Give this man some help. Give this man some help. Thank goodness Kenneth Walker has arrived. That is the craziest honorable mention we'll probably ever have on these top 5 lists. Number 5 on the list. This is similar to the quarterbacks, where they had a Hall of Fame career. They are a Hall of Famer. And they had a Hall of Fame career with a different team. Didn't have the same success with the Chiefs, but still were able to manufacture that kind of production that allowed them to become a part of a franchise that was one game away from beating the Buffalo Bills and going back to the Super Bowl for the first time since beating the Vikings in the late 60s. Number 5 on the list is Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen deserves to be in an all-time discussion for the Kansas City Chiefs. His track record with the Raiders is something that might be top 10 in NFL history. And then coming to the Chiefs, a division rival, right? And pairing up with Joe Montana. We talked about Joe Montana in the top 5 all-time quarterbacks. Pairing up with Montana and being a part of something that the Chiefs almost got back to the Super Bowl in, right? Being a part of a duo like that when we think about Mahomes and we think about Len Dawson and we think about all these guys, like, they are in the discussion. They're just not in an all-time discussion because they didn't get to the Super Bowl. And they ran into Jim Kelly and, Thurman Thomas and those boys over in Buffalo. But Marcus Allen, he never had 1,000 yards with the Chiefs, but he had the type of production that you would expect from a Chiefs running back, especially nowadays when we see with Patrick Mahomes. So even though he's not going to be like these other 4 guys, these other 3 guys, he deserves to be a part of this because of what you brought into the Chiefs when you saw what he did with the Raiders. So he's not, all-time great in a Chiefs uniform, but his Hall of Fame resume speaks for himself, for itself, and he deserves to be on this list. Number 4. And I went back and forth on whether or not to put this guy higher because I think he deserves to be higher. But the other 3 guys on the list are just too good to put him above them. Number 4, the Nigerian Nightmare, Christian Okoye. Christian Okoye was unreal for the Chiefs. You talk about a fullback as a running back, a linebacker as a running back, running over Hall of Fame safeties. I wasn't alive to watch Christian Okoye play, but I've seen the highlights. The highlights speak for themselves. The sounds that Christian Okoye gave defenders when he ran over them speak for themselves. Right? The NFL films back in the day when it was in its just early years of Christian Okoye running over Hall of Fame guys. It was awesome. It was awesome. And I think he deserves more respect. The stats don't necessarily show anything crazy, but Okoye was unbelievably hard to tackle. And he was a menace. He was an absolute menace when he had the ball in his hands. Now, they didn't really have any success. The Chiefs didn't really have any success with Okoye in the backfield. They didn't really have any success as a team, as a whole. But he is one of the most memorable Chiefs running backs ever. I mean, the fact that he's only number 4, I feel like is an indictment on Okoye. But as you'll see, these next 3 guys, I mean, when you know their names, you probably already have them in your mind as we're talking about this. Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare. One of the greatest Chiefs of all time. One of the greatest nicknames of all time. Number 4 on the list. Number 3, going back to my Madden days, similar to Trent Green, his running mate, Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson was a guy that kind of went underrated during his time with the Chiefs. It kind of was something that people didn't really think about because it was Priest Holmes this, and then it was Marcus Allen before him, and then after him came Jamal Charles, and I'm kind of spoiling the rest of the list here, but Larry Johnson, right in the midst of that, had multiple 1,000-yard seasons. Had multiple 15-plus touchdown seasons with the Chiefs. They didn't have postseason success. They didn't have these crazy dynastic runs that we now see with Mahomes and Andy Reid. But Larry Johnson, from a skill standpoint, might be one of the best running backs of that era. Like, of that, in terms of all-time discussion, he's not even close to being there. But in that era of the late 2000s, like 2006 and 2010, Larry Johnson was him. Larry Johnson made guys miss. Larry Johnson scored touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. If I remember correctly, just checking the stats before we even recorded this, he had 20 touchdowns one year. 17 touchdowns another year. Like, the guy was otherworldly in his ability. But he didn't have the pieces around him. Trent Green didn't really have the pieces around him. The coaching staff wasn't what it is today. And so they'll kind of be forgotten in that sense. But Larry Johnson, the stats speak for themselves, man. He deserves to be number 3. Number 2 and number 1, you could go back and forth like a boxing match with these guys. Like, genuinely, each of them deserve to be in all-time discussions. But one of them is an actual Hall of Famer now and deserves to be in the discussion even more. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Maybe I forgot that. But number 2, Jamal Charles. I so badly wanted to put him number 1. He's one of my favorite Chiefs ever. Now, I was alive for Jamal Charles. I wasn't alive for Okoye or Marcus Allen or things like that. But Jamal Charles was unreal. We forget, too, he played in one of the best college basketball, one of the best college football games of all time. Texas and USC, Jamal Charles was the running back. This guy was unbelievably quick. His twitchiness, his reactions, his games where he would just put up stupid Madden numbers, man. Like, this guy was unreal. I can't come up with another word other than describe Jamal Charles as the most unreal football player I've ever seen in a Chiefs uniform prior to Patrick Mahomes. He made guys miss. He had the ability to do whatever he wanted on a football field. 5 touchdowns against the Raiders in one game. One of the greatest fantasy performances of all time. Let alone football games of all time. So Jamal Charles, if not for number 1 on this list, easily should be the best Chiefs running back of all time. But he is second to a man. Again, I maybe should have looked this up, but I would assume he's already a Hall of Famer. If he's not, he better be soon. Priest Holmes. The Priest has entered the chat. I mean, when we talk about LaDainian Tomlinson, when we talk about Barry Sanders, Eric Dickerson, Marshall Faulk, these guys that were part of just all-time teams. I know the Lions didn't really have any success with Barry Sanders, but Priest Holmes gets forgotten about as one of the best running backs of all time. Of all time. In that era, from early 2001 to 2004, I think, 2005. My memory's a little fuzzy there. I was like 6 years old. He was the best running back in football, and it wasn't close. It wasn't close. You can make an argument for Marshall Faulk. You can make an argument for this guy or that guy. Priest Holmes, from a stat perspective, blew them out of the water. multiple 1,500-yard rushing seasons. Oh, can we get back to that with Patrick Mahomes? Please, oh please. I love Priest Holmes. I loved playing with him on Madden. I loved seeing his ability, looking at highlights back in the day now. Now that I'm older and can look back at them knowing that I was only 6 or 7 years old when I was watching him play. But I cannot believe that he was actually in a Chiefs uniform, that he was a part of a squad that never got a chance to actually experience postseason success. He deserves to be in a top 10 all-time running backs, in my opinion. And maybe we'll have to do that is enlist the top 5 running backs of all, or top 10 running backs of all time in NFL history. Because you got to think Priest Holmes is there. If not that, top 15. Because he provided the Chiefs in an era where the Patriots were doing this and the Patriots were doing that to remind the world that we got one of the best running backs to ever do it. And that's all due respect to all those other guys in NFL history. So he's number 1. Again, you could interchange him with Jamal Charles, but Jamal Charles didn't have the Hall of Fame resume that I think Priest Holmes has. And I think Jamal Charles had a lot more guys in the discussion. I mean, he played around the same time as Adrian Peterson. So it's hard to put Jamal Charles in the category that you could have easily put Priest Holmes in a couple of those seasons as the best running back in football. But let me know in the comments down below who you think was snubbed from the top 5 list, who deserves to be higher, who's too high. Let me know in the comments down below. We'll continue to roll out these top 5 lists. And as always, roll clones. And how about those Chiefs?